Hello everybody and welcome back. I am KRX, so we are back with some Democracy 4 playing as Germany, and we've played our first quarter of a year, and we've done some things. We got some advertising campaigns going to try to promote good behavior. We've got a junk food tax as well, and some other stuff. Trying to take care of the obesity, trying to take care of the alcohol abuse. We have a little bit of a organized crime issue as well. Organized crime is something that could pop up on us, which is a little bit scary. I don't know where we see that, but we just saw that is coming. That's here. Situation imminent. Organized crime. Intelligence services are bringing it down. Gambling is actually interesting. Gambling, huh? If we have gambling, no restrictions, wouldn't this get rid of organized crime? Because you would be legalizing and regulating it for the most part. I mean, you might still have black market gambling, but to some degree you'd get some of it above the surface. Anyways, we'll look at that. We'll look at that in a second. But if we actually organize, here's just alphabetical, right? Capitalists at the top, youth at the bottom, so to speak. Here we can organize by actual group, like the largest people, how they associate themselves. Most people actually, it looks like 85% of the country is liberal, it's saying. Motorist, 60%. 66% motorists. That's interesting. That's interesting. 55%, maybe 60% capitalists. Commuters, lots of motorists, commuters. That's interesting. A lot of state employees, though. A lot of state employees. About as many state employees as some of these other groups. Obviously, you can be a liberal capitalist state employee, right? Like someone could be multiple of these different things. Environmentalist. The environmentalists really like us, but they only make about 45% of the population. So the other, if capitalists are 60%, we have socialists that are 40%. And the socialists like us. The capitalists don't really like us that much. That's a big group of people. Don't really like us too much. The motorists, the liberal, honestly, we could probably make gains with the liberals as well. They're our biggest block, and they're kind of just 50-50 on us. And of course, the liberals want more civil liberties, like looser drug laws and less more privacy, more protections for individual privacy and stuff, and yada yada. We can see here the things that are bringing down, and the things that they like. So actually, this is mostly bringing them down, because the only thing that we have legalized is medical cannabis. But we could up this, right? And the liberals would love to have like everything legalized, just purely from like an ideological perspective, that people should make their own decisions as to what they do here, as long as they're not hurting other people. It's this tiny little itsy bitsy little thing down here, the water industry. Okay. And this seems to be flatlining here. Sometimes it takes a few days for things to affect, right? We've just enacted the there's actually a scroll thing here. Junk food tax, that's going to kick in. So this is going to take 10 days. So some of this stuff is kicking in. It's kicking in. It hasn't applied yet, but once it's kicked in, it'll go down. It seems like I'd like to be able to reduce the crime somehow. Where's our intelligence agencies? Armed police. This actually is relatively cheap. Reduces, see, the liberals don't like this. Every officer is armed. I'm just trying to think, this organized crime thing. Gambling. It's just saying gambling. Legalized sex work. What is this? Conservatives really don't like this. Or the religious. Liberals are, of course, going to like this. But how does this affect organized crime? I feel like, for some reason, I feel like if you maximize these liberties and you remove these as crimes, then that would be, but it's not actually showing. It's not. It's just saying that it's that our current status is reducing, or is trying to. Oh, it's trying to pull down. Our current situation is trying to pull down organized crime. I think this is built relatively balanced. If we don't do anything to mess this up, it shouldn't be triggering. Nothing's actually trending, but I'm kind of curious to do something like this to see if this would bring it down or not. Actually, I didn't even see exactly what percentage of our country is religious. It wasn't a large percentage, I don't think. Holy cow, we got to go down here to like 15%. And these are probably people that are like, obviously that wouldn't be accurate to say that, like, these are people that are fundamentalists and stuff, probably, or like deeply, or follow the practices or follow the habits or whatever, or like, live their life in a way that's affected by their beliefs in that sense. Because obviously, I think it's saying 20%. I'm sure that Germany associates individually. If you were to poll people, it'd be much, much higher than that. I think Scandinavia has some of the highest non-religious polling, and it's still only like 20 or 30% or something like that, non-religious. So many things we could be looking at. I really like reforestation. I really kind of like reforestation. We can just go in here and see what we could... Ooh, law and order here. Wait a second, law and order. It's somewhat a jury trial. Gated communities. A flag on every corner. There's some silly stuff in here for sure. A state religion. That's interesting. I don't think that was an option when we did our religious playthrough of United States. Oh, this is reforestation for only $1 billion? I don't know. 100 million trees a year. Boost the environment significantly, reduce respiratory disease, which is one of our things, reduce CO2 emissions. Who doesn't like reforestation? Let's get that activated. Dang, that didn't even use that much political capital. Citizenship for sale? Getting tourism up could just be a good thing. I mean, who wouldn't want more tourists, economically speaking? Yeah, we have too many people. We need to do something about alcohol consumption, though, right? Alcohol awareness campaign. We're doing that. Let's look at unemployment. University grants are bringing it down by quite a bit. Military spending is, by expanding the military, that gives people, that's jobs that people could be doing. GDP, if the GDP it goes well, then unemployment should go down. Technology grants? Actually, this sounds very interesting. Decently expensive. Unemployment would come down, technology would go up, which actually affects unemployment negatively, right? Because part of technology is automation and AI. GDP goes up, which helps unemployment. Productivity goes up, which might affect unemployment negatively, potentially. Capitalists like this. Religious members do not like technology grants. You know what? I think that's worth it. Let's do that. We're going to have to figure out some ways to make some money back. Well, we could go into... see if we could tax anything here. Well, we could make about $1 billion from this. with the current amount of cannabis consumption that we have now, which is very minimal. It's just medical. So we could legalize drugs and then tax drugs. Legalize and tax. A plastic tax. We could make a lot of money from this. The environmentalists will like this. Oil demand will go down. That seems good. GDP will go down. Everyone's income will go down because obviously everyone's so tied in with plastics, right? Their disposable income will go down. Barely, though. Barely. I actually kind of like this idea. That's $5 billion in income. Let's do that. Let's do that. So we should be bringing down alcohol consumption quite a bit now. We just got to wait for this to kick in. Yeah, that is a huge amount. We need an alcohol tax. Do we have one of those? We have an alcohol tax. Okay, we haven't enacted it yet. This would be a way to really cut down on the consumption massively. So that would be something that we'll probably want to do. We have no political capital at the moment. No big deal. Let's go to the next day. Multinational tax evasion. Data is showing that we will have potentially bad situation. Multinational tax evasion on our hands if we do not act soon. Technology sales tax is bringing this up. Corporate. Why is technology bringing this up? I guess it's giving people the means of avoiding the taxation. Unemployment's going down, GDP is going up. That's great. That's great. Actually, let's look at this a little bit. Corporate tax, huh? Hey, you know, we raised that a little bit. We could be useful. We're actually our deficit, thanks to that other tax that we added. Our deficit is about a little bit lower than where we started. Stability is going to try to bring this down. There's a lot of things really raising this up, though, to be honest. Productivity does bring it down. What can we do about stability? Stability is already basically at the maximum. So even though it's at the maximum, it has such a minimal effect here. I wish there were some more things we could do here. I love how nobody really likes the tobacco awareness campaign. 35% of the people like this. It doesn't cost us much, but it's just no one really... What the heck? How much political capital does this cost? It costs... Wait. Introduction cost. 30? It costs 30. We could wait a turn and enact it. That's insanely expensive. How much potential income is this going to get us? Up to $5 billion, though. Mansion tax. $5 billion in income. It's kind of neat. And some of this stuff is definitely new. An internet tax. Oof. Ooh, no. We should be subsidizing the internet for everybody. Religious banknotes? There's some interesting stuff in here. There's a lot of new stuff than when I last played. A packaging tax. I kind of like this. That's kind of interesting. That's a clever way to promote sort of like access use of packaging, environmental disaster. This I think this would ultimately drive local sales potentially, right? Like if there was like the Amazon tax or something, right? Basically, although presumably everything kind of gets packaged even if it goes to a local retailer, but this is I think this is more looking at it from an environmental perspective rather than trying to promote local business, local economies. Frequent flyer tax, that's interesting. I mean, the only people that would be frequently flying would be like the well-to-do in the business class, right? Empty homes tax. That's kind of interesting, right? If you're a landlord, you own homes, but they're not being utilized, you're just purely sitting on them for their ability to, appreciate or something like that. Get taxed on that. That's kind of interesting. The youth like this because it means that these people are incentivized to use the land that they own, and this also would drive down, right? If these people are incentivized to fill their homes with people living in them and have people living in them, which is just good for communities to have people in the homes, in the neighborhoods, maintaining them and stuff, and being there and living in them. But then also, that means that there's more homes available, less empty homes just sitting there, artificially driving up the cost of the homes that are being bought and sold. So the wealthy don't like this, the capitalists don't like this, the retired don't like this. Presumably retired people might be more likely to be landlords or something, I don't know, or just own multiple properties. I wonder if this actually has anything to do with like beach homes or something, vacation homes. No, I think this is mostly talking about from other regions push up property prices, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, just sort of monopolizing neighborhoods and stuff, and artificially jacking up the price by taking homes off the market and letting those homes still gain in value over time and so on and so forth. Yeah, it looks like that's what it is talking about, not just people having a vacation home or something. Wouldn't it be a huge amount of income, to be honest? But and we have more self-identified capitalists than socialists in the country, so that's worth noting. Whatever. I kind of want to do this alcohol tax. Let's go to the next day, and then we'll enact that because we have a maximum of 46, so we should be able to get 23 plus 46, so we should be able to have a lot next turn to do a big thing. Corporate medical marketing. For many years, certain pharma companies have been giving money and other favors to doctors who prescribe their drugs, even though sometimes these drugs were not needed or not the ideal choice. This has increased in recent months, and with no physical harm has been done so far, it's only a question of time until something bad happens. Introduce regulations. People should be getting the meds that they need, not the meds that they're asking for because they saw a commercial, or the ones that doctors quite literally being bribed to prescribe certain meds over others that might be more appropriate or would have otherwise been prescribed. Oh, interesting. Pollution. Now, reforestation should kick this down, but it does look like we have a pollution situation on our hands. That is going up. That is a problem. GDP is on the rise, and that's causing an issue. International trade, car usage. We might see if we can actually... That's interesting. We can get a little bit of a quick glimpse. See, the car usage is going up. Yeah. Foreign neighbor nuclear missile tests. Patriots do not like this. And we're losing the fact that we're no longer... Or we're losing our strong leader element. Let's go get this tax, this alcohol tax implemented. This is what we wanted to do. I'm just going to crank this thing up. Oh, 3 billion in income, a good reduction in alcohol consumption. So altogether, this should be coming down. Alcohol tax, the alcohol awareness campaign, this should be coming down. And when this comes down, this should be driving this down. Although to be fair, we might have to raise that tax up again because it might not be enough to bring it down entirely. We're actually at a very small deficit now. It is going the right direction. What was that just happened? A credit approval here, which is rating upgrade. So we got the upgrade from that negative thing that happened to us. Yeah, pollution. It'd be nice if we could do something to curtail that immediately. Public services, keep the country tidy campaign. Very, very cheap. Helps the environment. Presumably helping the environment reduces pollution, I'm assuming. Where is the pollution? here's the environment. The environment's going down. Oh, down is a good thing, I think, in this situation. Including air quality, but also means of noise pollution, litter, water quality, and many other measures of pollution. So I think pollution and environment are kind of two and the same. So if we come here and we clean, and it's talking about litter specifically. So if we come here and we do a Keep the Country Tidy campaign for a very measly 150 million euros. Good. What else can we do? There's some really cool stuff down here. And they're like a city farms or something. Maybe that's an economy. Rural development grants, that's kind of cool. City farms here. This is kind of neat. It increases farmers like this, and farmer membership goes up. I'm surprised this doesn't have any kind of effect on the... Relatively expensive here. It does reduce CO2 emissions in the environmentalists like this, the carbon captures. CO2 emissions are going up, apparently. Who doesn't like small business grants? Be rather expensive to go full in on that. Plastic bag tax. People will not like this. Wait a second. Packaging tax. Popularity with the voters, 98%? 98% of people support this? Let's do it. Heck, we might actually be running at a profit here soon. Demand from a donor. Donors insisting that you placate them by implementing a specific policy, CO2 campaign. If you refuse to do so, they will abandon their financial support of the granola party. View the policy here. CO2 campaign. Looks like it's... Oh, yeah, we could absolutely do this. Plant-based diets will go up. So this is easy. Car usage goes down. That's good. We need that to go down. This is relatively cheap to do. We will do that. Whoops, I can't do it in the future? I guess I have to do that. I guess we can't do that. Sorry, buddy. We didn't check that soon enough, apparently. Diesel emissions scandal. A scandal has been exposed, revealing that many of the largest and most prestigious car companies in our country have been blatantly lying about the emissions from their diesel vehicles. Holy cow, in a deliberate and very profitable scheme to cheat the official tests? How should the police handle this incredibly high-profile case? Is this a police issue, or is this like a federal issue, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. What's the German equivalent of the FBI? You know what I mean? This case is being blown out of proportion. Fines can be issued and cars can be retested and given revised emission numbers. A few overenthusiastic engineers, I don't think it was the engineers, right? The workers and the engineers and the designers. I think we're talking about the capitalists at the top here. There can be no doubt here that people at the very top of these companies knew exactly what was going on. And we have 100% clear that here in Germany, the laws apply equally to everyone. Yeah, I mean, how is this not the choice? Not popular with the business owners. I love how the wording on this is actually beautifully worded, right? Beautifully worded. It's like, it can't completely sidestep the scandal because this is an issue. They were lying about regulations, but it words it in such a right-wing way to literally blame it on the engineers. Like, it's just, that's so funny to me a little bit. So just the fact that the designer of the game, this is made by one guy actually, just that he worded that kind of really, I think, very sort of fittingly as to how that might have actually been presented if that situation had come up. We're actually running a surplus right now. We're running a small surplus, which means our debt's going to go down. Presumably, we're probably paying a certain amount of our income is actually just spent, or sorry, our expenditures. A certain amount of our expenditures are likely Here, where is it? Money is probably being spent on debt interest. Yeah, 8 billion just on debt interest. So if that debt was gone, right? Which 2 trillion is quite a bit. It's hard to get rid of that. But if the debt was gone, presumably we wouldn't be spending. We'd have 8 billion more to spend, I guess. Which is kind of interesting. Healthcare vouchers, state pensions is a big one. I don't want to reduce any of this. Military spending, 13 billion euros. Wow. That's funny. That's actually kind of funny. Compared to, if you play the United States, you load it up. It's like now in actuality, again, this is a game, so everything's balanced like for the game. But I think in the game, it lists it like 500 billion or something like that when you load up the United States. But in actuality, it's much larger than that, actually. And of course, that's dollars compared to euros. The euro's a little bit stronger, but still, obviously, 12 billion compared to 500, or the 750 billion, right? Is no comparison. I'm wondering if this is actually accurate. I would imagine Germany's is higher than this. 12 billion seems like nothing. I mean, wow, that's just interesting. Compared to its entire GDP, that's less than what is that? 2 trillion, 10 billion. I mean, it's like 1 point, or is that 0.6%? 0.6%? 10 billion would be 1% of 1 trillion. So it's 2 trillion. Oh, that's our debt. Sorry, that's not our GDP. That's our debt. I don't know. Can we look up our GDP? Anyways, a military. It would, technically, I mean, heck, what would this do? The Patriots are the only ones that really wouldn't like this. This is helping. I mean, if you go way up here, it does help with technology. It helps with unemployment. It helps with, increases the amount of state employees that you have. To be fair, the only one that actually wouldn't like this is the Patriots. How many Patriots do we even have? How many people consider themselves to be Patriots, right? Actually, basically, that's interesting. That'd be an easy way to get a huge amount of surplus, right? Dang. We're not getting any technology benefits from this anyways. I want to look at our energy next. Next episode, let's look at our energy. I want to see, are we shutting down our nuclear? Are we decommissioning our nuclear power plants just like Germany actually is in actuality? Because I want to see if we can reinvest in our nuclear system. That would be neat. And look at it and just sort of look and see where we're getting our energy from, because that ties into GDP and economy quite importantly as well. Guys, thanks everybody for being here. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Playlist link down below. If you guys have questions, ask in the comments and I'll make sure to answer them, or just if you guys have thoughts or suggestions or anything like that, or if, just feedback in general about democracy or the playthrough that we're having and stuff. And guys, thanks everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next episode.